All right, so you're looking into Snap in 2025, huh? And wondering if their stock is a good buy.
Hmm. Well, we've got this Motley Fool article from today, and they seem to think it might be.
Interesting.
They're kind of painting it as a comeback story, which is,
It is, yeah. It's fascinating, isn't it?
yeah.
How Snap seems to have bounced back from some pretty big
Constantly.
setbacks.
Yeah, let's be honest. I mean, things looked, pretty bleak back in 2021 when Apple made those sweeping privacy changes.
It's huge.
Yeah, Snap's whole advertising model, it was
Right.
built around targeted ads, and all of a sudden, it's like the rug was pulled out from under them.
Oh, absolutely. It was a real turning point for a lot of companies,
Yeah.
that relied heavily on that kind of data tracking.
Mhm.
And what's interesting is how Snap chose to respond.
Yeah.
I mean, they could have just, tried to patch things up and carry on as usual.
But they decided to go in a different direction.
Okay, so instead of just panicking,
Yeah.
they got creative.
Exactly.
What exactly did they do?
Well.
The article mentions this shift to
Right.
direct response advertising.
Uh-huh.
Can you unpack that for us a little bit?
Sure. Direct response is all about, it's about getting an immediate reaction from viewers.
Okay.
Think of those ads that practically scream at you, click me, or buy now.
Right.
It's about driving those conversions, not just building brand awareness.
So less about subtle influence and more about a direct call to action.
Yeah.
I can see how that might be more appealing to advertisers in a world where data privacy is a bigger concern.
Exactly. And Snap has built a new ad platform.
Okay.
Specifically for this, this type of advertising, gives businesses more control over their campaigns.
Right.
Allows them to track tangible results.
Yeah.
Which is crucial in today's data-driven world.
Absolutely.
The article even highlights a company called GoWish.
Okay.
Saw a massive increase in their app downloads.
I'm seeing a 3,000% increase here in the article. That's wild.
Oh, yeah, it's huge.
But hold on, Snap isn't just about ads, though, right?
Right.
I mean, they've got that subscription service.
They do, yeah.
Snapchat Plus.
Mm-hmm.
And that seems to be doing pretty well, too.
You're right. It's, it's smart of them to not put all their eggs in one basket, so to speak.
Right.
Snapchat Plus gives them that recurring revenue stream that isn't entirely dependent on, the whims of the advertising market.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's projected to bring in, like $500 million annually, which is, that's significant, right?
That's a significant chunk of change, yeah. Okay, so we've got the comeback story, the shift in the ad strategy, and the subscription service success. But what about the cold hard numbers? What's the financial performance actually look like?
Well, in 2024, they pulled in a record $5.3 billion in revenue.
Okay.
Which is a 16% increase from the previous year.
Okay.
Fastest growth rate since that 2021 hit.
That is a pretty impressive rebound.
Yeah.
But I'm also seeing here the article mentions this difference between GAAP and non-GAAP profitability.
Right.
Can you break that down for us?
Oh, yeah.
Because it seems like they're still losing money if you look at GAAP, but they're profitable under non-GAAP.
Yeah.
What's the deal with that?
That's a really good question.
Yeah.
And it is important to understand the distinction.
Yeah.
So GAAP, or generally accepted accounting principles, it's the standard set of rules really for financial reporting.
Okay.
In the U.S.
Right.
And when you look at at GAAP profitability, Snap did report a loss of $697.8 million in 2024.
So technically not in the black yet.
Right. But that loss was considerably smaller than their 2023 loss. So, it is trending in the right direction.
Okay.
Now, non-GAAP is it's a different way of looking at profitability.
Okay.
It excludes certain costs that aren't directly tied to the core operations of the business.
Okay. So, what kind of costs are we talking about?
Things like stock-based compensation,
right,
or one-time expenses, related to maybe acquisitions.
Okay.
And these can sometimes skew the overall picture of a company's profitability. Mm-hmm. Especially for tech companies that are growing really rapidly and investing heavily in their future.
Yeah, for sure.
And when you look at Snap's profitability through that lens of non-GAAP, they actually earned $487.1 million in 2024. Yeah. That's a pretty substantial jump compared to the previous year.
Okay.
So
depending on how you slice it,
exactly,
they're either moving towards profitability or they're already there. But let's get to, to the heart of the matter.
Yeah.
Is Snap's stock actually a good buy? Well, the Motley Fool seems to think so.
They do.
And they're kind of pointing to the price-to-sales ratio as evidence.
Right.
Yeah.
They believe Snap is undervalued.
Okay.
Compared to some of the other big players in social media, like Meta and Pinterest.
Just to refresh everyone's memory, the price-to-sales ratio, or PS ratio, is a way to kind of measure a company's stock price relative to its revenue.
Exactly. And Snap's current PS ratio is 3.7.
Okay.
Which is significantly lower than its peak back in 2021, and also lower than Meta and Pinterest ratios.
Yeah.
So the Motley Fool's argument is that based on their current revenue and growth trajectory, Snap's stock price should be higher.
Okay.
Making it a potentially attractive investment.
It's interesting that they're comparing Snap to these giants. I mean, Meta is a behemoth.
Oh yeah.
And Pinterest has a very established presence.
For sure.
Are they really even in the same league?
Well, that's where things get really interesting.
Okay.
And that's what we'll dig into next.
Right.
We need to look beyond just the numbers and consider the bigger picture. Snap's long-term strategy.
Okay.
Their position in the market and the risks involved.
For sure.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Okay, so we're comparing Snap to these massive companies like Meta and Pinterest.
Right.
But it feels like Snap's kind of going after a different, different kind of user. Yeah.
Right. I mean, they seem to have this lock on that that younger, more engaged demographic.
Definitely.
So is that a factor in their valuation at all?
Absolutely. I mean, the market isn't just looking at, overall revenue.
Right.
It's also looking at the value of a company's user base. And in Snap's case, I mean, they've got a highly sought after demographic, young, digitally savvy, and really active on the platform.
Right.
I mean, that's a gold mine for advertisers.
That makes sense. Yeah. If you're a company and you're trying to reach, that Gen Z or young millennial audience, you're almost forced to consider Snap, it seems like.
You almost have to. Yeah. But what about those, those risks you mentioned? Right. What are some of the potential downsides to investing in Snap?
The social media landscape is, it's incredibly competitive.
Oh, yeah.
New platforms, they pop up all the time. Trends change so rapidly.
Right.
Users, they can be fickle.
Yeah.
So there's always that risk that Snap could lose its appeal.
Right.
Especially among that,
especially that younger demographic.
That younger demographic, exactly.
Yeah. It's like a popularity contest that never ends.
It really is.
You got to constantly innovate, stay ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
But Snap does seem to be taking some interesting steps to diversify their offerings. Right. The article mentions these AR experiences and e-commerce integration.
Then they're definitely not standing still, no.
Right.
Those AR experiences in particular, I think, are a smart move.
Okay.
Really tap into that desire for immersive, interactive content.
Right.
Which is huge with younger users.
With that demographic, yeah.
And if they can, if they can successfully integrate e-commerce into those experiences,
right.
That could be a game changer, really.
Yeah.
Imagine being able to try on clothes virtually,
right,
through Snapchat, and then buy them right there, in the app.
Yeah, that's the kind of seamless experience that could really, set them apart.
I think so. Yeah.
Let's go back to the to the Motley Fool's argument for a second. Okay. They seem very bullish on Snap.
They do.
They're claiming it's a bargain at its current price.
Yeah.
What specifically are they basing that on?
Well, their argument kind of hinges on a few key factors.
Okay.
First, they point to Snap's consistent growth.
Okay.
in daily active users. They ended 2024 with a record 453 million, which is, I mean, and that number is, it's climbing. It's steadily climbing.
Okay.
So, I mean, that kind of user growth, it's a pretty strong indicator of a healthy platform.
Okay, so lots of people are using the platform,
right?
And that number is going up.
Yeah,
that's good. What else?
Second, they highlight Snap's innovative ad platform.
Okay.
They've really honed in on that direct response approach.
Right. Yeah.
Giving advertisers the tools they need to to target specific audiences and track the effectiveness of their campaigns.
Right.
The article even mentions their 70 optimization model.
I remember skimming over that.
Yeah.
Can you explain that a bit more? Like what makes that 70 optimization model so special?
Well, it's all about efficiency and precision. The 70 refers to the 7 key variables, really, that they use to optimize ad performance.
Okay.
So, things like audience targeting, ad creative, bidding strategy.
Okay.
And the goal is to constantly, to tweak those variables to get the most out of every ad dollar. It's really data-driven advertising at its finest.
So instead of just, throwing ads out there and hoping for the best, they're using, sophisticated algorithms and real-time data to make sure that those ads are reaching, the right people at the right time.
Exactly. And that, and that data-driven approach, it's key to their long-term success, I think. Allows them to adapt quickly to changes in user behavior, market trends, which is essential in this fast-paced world of social media.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so we've got the user growth, the innovative ad platform, and that diversification of revenue through Snapchat plus them. But I'm still curious about why the Motley Fool thinks Snap is particularly undervalued.
Right.
I mean, they mentioned Meta's investments in AI as a reason why Meta might be overvalued.
Right.
What's the thinking there?
It's about hype versus substance.
Okay.
AI is, it is a hot topic right now.
Oh yeah.
There's no doubt.
For sure.
And Meta is, they're pouring a lot of resources into it.
Right.
But the Motley Fool's argument is that the market might be getting ahead of itself, so to speak.
Okay.
Just because a company is investing heavily in a trendy technology doesn't automatically make it, a good investment.
So they're saying, don't just buy into the hype.
Exactly.
Look beyond the buzzwords and assess whether those investments are actually translating into, tangible results and sustainable growth.
Precisely. Yeah. It's a good reminder that, that investing isn't just about chasing the latest fads.
Yeah.
It's about, it's about understanding a company's, their fundamentals, their long-term strategy, their ability to execute.
But even if Snap isn't like directly involved in this, AI arms race, they're still benefiting from, from advancements in that area.
They are, yeah.
Right. Those algorithms that power their ad platform are probably getting smarter and more sophisticated thanks to AI.
That's a great observation.
Yeah.
It really highlights how interconnected the tech world is.
Yeah.
Even if a company isn't, building their own AI from scratch, they can still leverage the advancements that are being made by others, and that's something to keep in mind when you're evaluating any tech company.
All right, so we've explored Snap's recent performance, their innovative strategies, and the Motley Fool's argument for why their stock might be a steal.
Yeah,
but it's a it's a complicated picture, right?
It is.
There are risks involved.
Absolutely.
The social media landscape is always shifting.
Always, yeah. There are no guarantees really in the world of investing.
Right.
But what we've done today is equipped you with the information you need
to hopefully
to make an informed decision.
Right. We've unpacked the numbers, analyzed the strategies, and even, considered some of those broader trends that are shaping the industry.
Right.
But ultimately, the choice is yours.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And remember, investing, it's a personal journey. It's about aligning your financial goals with your understanding of the market and your tolerance for risk.
Before we wrap up, though,
sure,
the Motley Fool made one final point that I think is worth emphasizing.
Okay.
They said that Snap is particularly attractive to investors who are looking to tap into the power of a young, engaged audience. Why do you think they?
That's a key insight, I think.
Okay.
Because it speaks to the bigger picture.
Right.
Investing, it's not just about picking individual stocks.
Right.
It's about understanding the forces that are shaping the world.
Right.
And right now, one of the most powerful forces is the rise of Gen Z and young millennials as a consumer and and cultural powerhouse.
They're the ones driving the trends. They're influencing purchasing decisions. They're shaping the future of technology.
They are. They absolutely are.
Yeah.
And if you believe that this demographic is going to continue to wield significant influence, then companies like Snap, who have captured their attention, their loyalty. They become very interesting investment opportunities.
So if you're looking for a company
that's aligned with the future, that's tapped into the pulse of that next generation.
Yeah.
Snap might be worth a closer look.
It's a compelling argument.
Yeah.
But as we've discussed, there are always two sides to every story.
There are potential downsides, uncertainties.
Yeah.
There are no guarantees of future success.
That's the nature of, the game.
Right.
And that's what makes it,
it's
fascinating.
And on that note, we're going to leave you with a final thought to ponder. We've talked a lot about where Snap is today, but, looking ahead, how do you think Snap will navigate this constantly evolving world of social media and tech in the next few years?
It's the $1 million question, isn't it?
Yeah.
They've shown that they can adapt.
Right.
They can bounce back.
But the challenges are only going to get tougher from here.
Yeah.
Right.
The competition is fierce.
Oh, yeah.
And user preferences, they can change like overnight.
Absolutely.
Do they become the next Meta, or do they, chart a completely different path?
Yeah. What kind of innovations are we going to see from them?
Right.
Will they be the ones to finally crack that AR e-commerce puzzle?
Yeah.
Or is there some entirely new technology that we haven't even thought of yet?
Right.
That they'll jump on.
Yeah. It's almost like we're watching this this high stakes game unfold in real time.
It is.
We've got players, the strategies, the potential for huge wins.
Huge wins, yeah.
And some pretty, some pretty spectacular wipeouts too. And as investors or just people trying to make sense of it all, it's up to us to analyze the game, make our predictions, and ultimately decide how we want to participate.
Yeah, well said.
So that's our deep dive into Snap's comeback story.
Yep.
We've covered a lot of ground here.
We have, yeah.
From those initial challenges with Apple's privacy changes to their innovative ad strategies and the potential of their subscription service.
We've looked at the numbers, considered the arguments, and even talked about those broader trends shaping the whole social media landscape.
Right. But as always, the final decision is yours, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Do your own research, think about your investment goals, and remember, the world of technology, it's in constant motion. I mean, what looks like a sure thing today could be,
totally,
a completely different story tomorrow.
Absolutely, yeah. And who knows?
Right.
Maybe the next time we revisit Snap, they'll have surprised us all over again.
That's what keeps things interesting, right?
It is, yeah. The future is full of possibilities.
It is.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We'll catch you next time.
Sounds good.
Right. For another fascinating exploration into the world around us.